Hello, my friends. I've been getting quite a few questions about how to get audio and keyboard and guitar signals into your Suno Studio app. So today I wanted to give you the high level view as to how I do this. It's a very simple process. For those of you who are instrumentalists, you know that you have a 1/4-inch jack most times, something like this. Let me bring it real close to the camera. You see that? Something like this. So imagine you had a cable going into your device, into your instrument, and coming out you also have this same cable. Well, this cable end cannot go into a computer directly. So the way around that is to use one of these. This is an audio box, and there are many other audio interfaces that people have. I'm going to zoom in real close so that you can see it a little bit better. If you take a look here, this is what the audio box looks like. The PreSonus AudioBox USB 96. I am going to include a link to it so that you will be able to see this and get it on Amazon or find it in other stores. So again, the way it works, you have your cable, your 1/4-inch jack going in here from your instrument, assuming this is an instrument cable going in here, and then you have the other end of the cable going into your instrument. Behind, you have a USB out. So you want to get something that looks like this. This goes in here. And then the other end of the cable, depending on the laptop you have, if you have a laptop like this that has a regular USB input like that, then you would need a cable that has this end and goes in here. So let me explain it all and show you one more time the kind of cable connectors that they are. So to keep it straight, there are 3 connectors that you need to be aware of. The first one is the regular USB, which is just called standard, and that's called standard A, or you might hear people refer to it as type A. And it's this connector that you see going into your laptop. So if your laptop has this rectangular look, then it's going to be an A that goes in. On the flip side, you might have one of these. This is a USB-C. This won't fit. So when you're getting a jack to go into your laptop, you want to make sure that it is one of these. It is a USB-C. You can see it's got that flat look to it. I'm going to show you an example. The USB-C would look like this. Let's go to a larger view so that you can really see it. USB-C, USB-A. So this is a C, this is an A, and then the final one that you want to be aware of is the B. And all of these are so important because depending on your laptop, you might need a B go into an A, or you might need a C go into an A in some instances, or you might even need a B go into a C. You get what I'm saying? So I'm showing you this because it could get quite confusing for someone who is not used to these cables. A is the regular one. That's flat, right? That's A. And here on the screen, one more time, this is A, type A, or standard A, right? That's A. Then this is B. This bulky looking one is B. This one right here, that's B. Okay? See it? The bulky looking one. All right, there's so many of them. You got to keep them straight. That's B. And lastly, C down here is this flat one. And you find this going into a lot of modern phones today, smartphones, they have that. Okay. So with all of that explained, my friends, your audio box, let's zoom into it. Your audio box has got the inputs for either your mic or your instrument, which generally uses a jack of this size. To further clarify this jack, let's jump into yet another Wikipedia page, and you can look these up and read these up. But over here you can see we have different dimensions. This one right here is a 1/4 inch jack, though it's a stereo jack, right? This is a stereo jack. Most instruments would use either a mono or stereo, depending. So you want to make sure this is the most commonly used one that goes into like a guitar. This first one that I'm showing over here, right? That would go into a guitar or a mono instrument. This one could come out of a keyboard or some other instrument, okay? And then if whatever you're using has got a stereo headset with a mono microphone, then you've got this, okay? You generally would see the first two most commonly. So what I'm trying to say is your 1/4 inch jack would go in here, okay? And out of your audio box would be the USB-B go into your laptop, okay? If you have a more modern keyboard that has got USB audio directly out, like this keyboard, this is the DGX 670, and this has got audio directly out. I also have the Go Keys 5. This has got audio directly out. So that could be another way that you interact with the keyboard. For example, I could have a microphone going into this keyboard, and I could use the USB audio out from here going directly into my laptop using any of the connectors that I've shown you, okay? So just to clarify one more time, if you do not have audio out from your keyboard, USB audio out, then you're going to have to use one of these, go into the audio box, and from the audio box, go into the computer. So that's the first way you can get your microphone, your guitar, your keyboard directly in. But again, if you have a keyboard like this that has got direct USB audio out, then you don't need the audio box to get your keyboard sound out. You might need it for your microphone to go into Suno Studio, okay? So that's the first thing I wanted to clear up using the audio box. Now, assuming you are not using the audio box, there are other things you could use. But before I go any further, I typically get questions, Phil, which microphone should I use? And I wanted to give you a few very low-cost examples. There are many examples of microphones you could use. This is an SM58. It is very well known in industry. I have used this microphone for over 20 years. It's a very good all-seasons microphone. if you're trying to mic up an instrument, you need to get more specialized. So while this could be used, you have more specialized microphones for pianos and guitars and things like that that you might want to look into. Okay? All right. With that said, there are other microphones for those of you who prefer going wireless. You get things like the Audio Technica lapel mic. And if you're using this, of course, it will have to come out of its receiver box. So this would come out of here and go into, again, your audio box. So the Audio Technica mic, wireless, comes out of the receiver box, a cable going in here, and then the USB out of here into your Suno Studio, okay? I hope it's making sense. I'm trying to go quite slow because I know for some of you this is uncharted territory. You're getting more into all these cables and technical things to make Suno Studio work for you, okay? Now, if you don't go that route, there are a few other solutions. For example, there's this one, which is a lapel USB mic. As you can see here, let's zoom into it. You got your microphone, and then you've got this USB that goes directly into your laptop. No need for an audio box. If you're just looking for a mic that can send a signal, it's going to go directly in there just like that. I've used this solution for quite a while for podcasts and things like that, and it really works well, I must say. So this could be an option, and I'm going to put a link below. You can find this in my Amazon store. In fact, all of these you can find them in my Amazon store. This is unopened. It's a really good product. I might have actually taken it out. It's a really good product, and highly recommend it. It's called the Mono USB lavalier microphone. You can find these on Amazon. I'll put the link below. Okay. Costs around 20 bucks or so, if I remember correctly. The Audio Technica mic, you might not find this exact one, but I have a similar one in my store. This, again, is not USB. Remember, this goes into the audio box. Okay. The lapel mic comes in a case for you to protect it and stuff like that. Okay. With that said, the other microphone that I would recommend is this one. It's another Mono Elf product. What I like about this is it enables you record on the go to your keyboard, to your phone. So assuming you wanted to record cleanly to this, you could use this. And I'm going to show you what comes in the case. So this case is for charging the microphones, and depending on which one you get, you're going to get this receiver. You're going to get this. This goes, it's a USB-C that goes directly into your laptop. So if your laptop has got USB-C, this fits directly in there, and all you do is you pin the mic on. This is a mic. Pin it on, and you're off to the races. You might need a phone, first of all, like a smartphone, to be able to monitor the settings and set it up. But once you're done with that, you just clip it on and you're ready to go. Very, very, very speedy solution. So again, it comes with one of these. Depending on the solution you buy, if you buy this one, then you charge in this case. But there's a second solution which doesn't have the fancy charge case, which costs less. And in that case, you're going to have just a USB cable to charge the mics. Really what you need is the mics. And I do a lot of my podcasts. A lot of the time you see me online, I'm using this for speaking, communication, all that. Not for recording directly to studio for serious stuff. If I am recording to studio for serious stuff, then I could use a different solution. Let me show you that real quick. I found this to be very good as well. This is another Mono Elf product. So this goes to USB-B out from here and directly to your computer, depending on what input you've got. Okay. A lot of audio talk today, audio talk. This solution also comes with this crook handle for you to just put it on a microphone stand, which could be quite convenient. So this is its holder, and it just goes in there like that, and boom, into your microphone stand. So at times when I need to get something higher fidelity, as opposed to using this one, I just use this. All right. I hope it's all making sense so far. If you have any questions as I'm going through this, please chat in, because it could be quite a lot for someone who hasn't journeyed into this world yet. Okay. All right. So this one that I'm showing you right here is called the Mono T1 Mini Wireless Microphone. You can find this on Amazon. I'm going to put a link to where you can get it. You could find it as low as this, but it might cost more, depending. Okay, so that's that one. And then as far as this one is concerned, you may not find this exact one, but you can find something close. Let me bring that one up. So this one is called the Mono AO4 condenser microphone. It comes with all of these other fancy bells and whistles, which you may or may not need, but I found this to be not a bad USB microphone for standard decent sound. What I like about it is I don't need to go through the USB audio box. I just go straight from here into Suno Studio, boom, and I could record vocals. Same with this, but I find the quality of this to be, higher fidelity, if you will. Okay, so there's one more piece to the puzzle. I get a lot of questions on this, and the question is, Phil, how are you able to jam and move around? Like when I'm playing my guitar, the question is, how are you able to do that? How do you move around? How are you able to get that sound into whatever you're using to record video? Now, that's an extended question. I have to show you the tools I use. So again, I'm going to show you this tool. You saw me holding this 1/4-inch jack. Well, it's actually a receiver for this solution that is from West Shell. Again, I'm going to put a link to where you can get this if you need to be on the move on your guitar and you want a solution that goes directly into an amp. There are many solutions, but I found this to be quite reliable. So let me show you what this looks like. So these are your West Shell transmitter and receiver. Let me get this off the screen momentarily so you can see it. The red one is a transmitter, so that will go on your guitar. You plug that into your guitar. And this one is the receiver that you would plug into your USB audio box. You know what I'm saying? So this into your instrument, whatever that is, and this receiver will go in here, And from here, this goes into your computer, which you would find in your DAW, if it was, or your GAW, your Suno Studio. Okay, so that's how these work. Let me give you a good close-up so you can see them well. So just for good measure, that's the receiver, that's a green one, that's the transmitter. And again, you can use this for any instrument that has a 1/4-inch output, right? I use this for my guitar. Works really well. All right. The next question that I want to address has to do with how I monitor my sound. For the longest time, I used a pair of Audio Technicas until one day I did some research and I found that this product had raving fans on the internet. This is the One Audio headset, and they've got a variety of them. Not only have I bought them for myself, but I've started buying them for family and friends. So I use this sometimes, other times I use this. Highly recommend the One Audios. The One Audios are phenomenal. They give me the right frequency interpretation. I am able to decode when my sound is distorting. I'm able to decode when I need more highs or more lows. So if you're looking for a good headset, again, look for the link below. Go to azexperiment.com. You can find all of these things there. These are things that I use and I highly recommend. So the final one, did I actually show it to you close up? There it is, One Audio, okay? The final, hopefully, final thing that we have to talk about is, Phil, how do you get all of this sound and transmit it when you are doing your lives? Sometimes you are performing with a guitar and singing live and doing all of that stuff live. How do you do it? The answer is simple. Whatever mixer I'm using, I get these RCA inputs fed from that system. So you have 2 RCA jacks going in here, leading to my mixer. And this is my volume control. I have signals showing me when the sound is low or okay or high. It goes red when it's high. I have the ability to transmit in mono or to transmit in stereo. So mono would be this, stereo would be that. I can also loop back if I needed. I don't use any of these typically. And then over here, I put in my headphone jack. I use this to monitor as I am performing live. So as I'm playing live, it's going straight into a camera. And usually it's my iPhone 16 that it's going, right? I just take this directly, goes directly into the 16, and this gives me very, very clean sound. Actually, this goes into my iPhone 17 most times. So that's the same phone I'm using to record this feed. It's an iPhone 17. So this goes directly into the 17. My mixer, I could have like hundreds of instruments from my mixer board going in here, and I could send this to my phone, and I'm able to transmit my phone signal live. So I could go on YouTube Live, and everything is being fed into the phone from here. Vocals, keyboards, Suno, everything. Sometimes when I'm performing from this keyboard, I am sending Suno in here via Bluetooth. So there are many parameters, and you gotta work out your own mix, what works for you. But for me, I find if I have everything going into my iRig. By the way, this is called an iRig. Let me get a close up on it. This is an iRig Stream. And there are quite a number of iRigs, but you don't just want to get any old iRig. It must be at least a stream, and it delivers the stream in stereo. And that's what I love about this. You can also use this, of course, to record to your phone in stereo. One of the best. Okay. I think that is about it. I can't really think of anything else other than just a very quick mention that the iPhone 17 is very good with low light. So if you're looking for, if you're trying to make a decision on the phone to get, that works nicely with the iRig to give you good quality pictures, then I would recommend the iPhone 17 Pro. I also have an iPhone 15, which is great, but the shooting isn't that great when it's dark. Okay, I think that's about it. All right, my friends, that's it. That's how I do what I do. That is how you get your sound into your DAW, or you get your sound into Suno Studio. So let me show you, just to wrap up, let's go to Suno Studio, let's go to my DAW, and let me show you where you can find these various inputs. All right, so jumping into Suno Studio, when you add a track, the level of the track as you're recording and all that stuff, it won't show. In fact, you won't be able to do anything except you activate the track. So we just call it arming the track. You have to arm the track. And to arm the track, a couple of things. One, click on the no input, and you can see it says finding inputs. It's got to find the inputs that are available. So the microphones that I just talked about, you got to look for where those are connected to your computer. Click on no input, and these are a variety of microphones available. These are camera mics, system mics, and that one is one of the mono mics that I showed you. And yeah, you just see all your mics appear. You can also see this is the USB audio out for my DGX 670 keyboard. So if I was to select this, I could record from my keyboard directly into Suno Studio, directly in, without without the need for any interface, if you will. Okay. So that's how you would find your mics or your instruments, your USB connected instruments, or in the case of the USB audio box, let me show you how that would be, because I'm going to go ahead and connect the audio box directly to the computer, and you'll see what it comes up as. So when this is connected, you can see that the light comes on. You can see I also have the ability for phantom power for those microphones, those XLRs that need that phantom power. You have the controls to lift it up or down. And then when you go into your Suno Studio, you're going to find this as, you see it's now at the top, line 2 audio box USB 96. You've got it there a couple of times. And if you were to plug in a microphone, the next thing is to arm the track. So let's select that, and then this, and this is how it should look. You should have that red dot selected, and all you do is you begin recording. And similar token on my Mixcraft DAW, you have to do a couple of things. You got to arm the track, which gets it in ready state. And when you click on that drop down over here, this drop down reveals the options you have for connectivity. So if you look at audio inputs, I've got the USB audio box there. I've got my mono AI wireless lavalier, and I have my DGX 670 called the 5 Portable Grand, and some other inputs. And that's how it's done, my friends. Audio connectivity is so important. You know, we can't talk about it enough, because you could have the best sound going on, but if it's not being captured right, or if you want to perform and you're not able to transmit through your smartphone for your subscribers to hear and see what you're doing, it's a waste. So I would advise you to invest some time and resources in getting that optimum sound and gathering your arsenal. You can see there's so many possibilities as far as solutions. I didn't even show you any additional mixer boards, but if you are in need of one of those, just look around YouTube. There are many people talking about the latest and greatest. I just use a very simple mixer board. I have a Soundcraft, and I also have a combo that I use for my keyboards and other instruments. I take all of that out. It could either go here or it could go directly to the iRig. So you just never know when you're going to need one of these things. So the more you have, the merrier. All right. Thank you, my friends. If you got any questions, drop me a comment below.